I'm Dr. Jordin Wiggins, and this is the Pleasure Principles podcast. Join me on this journey where sex, science, and sensuality meet. Let's change the conversation around sex and pleasure together.
Based on your feedback, based on the number of men I have had reaching out and messaging me and saying, my wife has feminine burnout, how can I support her? Do you work with men? The number of my clients that are sharing, my current kind of clients, my past clients that share or listen to these episodes with their partners, I thought it was time that we did this episode. And it might be surprising for you to know that I love men. My work is to speak on the experiences of women and the ways in which society and our culture has set us up to be burnt out, lonely, a little depressed, knowing how to work really, really hard, not knowing how to slow down, receive, feel joy. My work is about how we've been given the wrong script about sex so that it's not really a surprise that 1 in 2 women suffer from sexual dysfunction in their lifetimes. And I should say, if you are a man that is interested in working with me, send me a DM on Instagram. Let's connect and figure out if it is a good fit. So the women that I work with know this, and I want you all to know it too, because my work is focused on women and women's experience, and my voice is getting louder and the message is getting clearer. And I want to make sure that you understand all sides of this equation. And that is that I love men. I couldn't always say that. As a heterosexual woman, someone with a vulva growing up in today's society that has experienced sexual assault and sexual abuse, it can be easy to hate men. I was a tomboy growing up. I wore track pants to school to remember tearaways. I rode a dirt bike. I fish. I can shoot a gun, change a tire. I love fast cars. I thought if I could get degrees, a house, provide for myself, I would be safe. I thought feelings, creativity, doing things like getting your nails done, being feminine was weak. That feminine interests were silly. I was awarded at home and at school for being smarter, faster, better. Add on being Catholic. So shame, guilt around sexuality, sexual desire, women not being able to be priests or like hold the highest rank in that hierarchy. As a teen growing up in our culture, I was taught that men take something from you. They take your virginity, for example. I was taught that my pleasure is second to a man's. If you have not listened to episode 13 of the Pleasure Principles podcast on closing the orgasm gap, I would love it if you did so. Like if you don't understand about men's pleasure being first in our society, we need to look into the orgasm gap. Also internalized beliefs like if he doesn't get it from you, he will go looking for it elsewhere. That, we are somehow like a receptacle for a man's pleasure. And I am not ignoring the statistics of violence against women. As I said before, I have been a victim of sexual assault and sexual abuse. I work with many women who have had sexual trauma or abuse from men. So I am not denying or minimizing these experiences. But I want to talk about a shift. I want to talk about some growth that I've had, but I still have a few more things to say about where this sort of hatred or anger towards men could come from. So, teen years, sex and sexuality, navigating all of that, growing up to realize about the wage gap, having to pay for menstrual products, trying to start a business to revolutionize the way that we deliver sexual health and wellness to women globally, because this problem is affecting 1 in 2 women. So billions of women, to find out that only 2% of VC funding goes to female founders and 12% of VC decision makers are women. Even trying to get a loan at a local bank, being a 28-year-old female with $200,000 of medical school debt and no assets, try and start a business. It gives a whole new meaning to bootstrapping and growing that business to be successful, by the way, without a dollar of funding or help. But you get my point. I was angry for a lot of years at men, at the patriarchy, at the society that made me feel that I was less than for being a woman. How many times did you hear you have to be twice as good to be considered half as good? Or you don't need a man, make your own money. Being an over-functioning, people-pleasing, perfectionist superwoman in her masculine was not getting me the places I wanted to go. I was the burnt-out owner of a 7-figure women's health clinic, feeling totally hypocritical. My hair was falling out. I had adult acne. I wasn't sleeping. I was waking up drenched in sweat, needing caffeine to get me through the day, wine to help me relax at night. So it's definitely taking a toll on my physical health. And these beliefs were not getting me the love that I wanted. So it was time to rewrite the narrative and teach the women that I work with to do the same so that we can heal ourselves, heal our relationships, to our partners, to our friends, and ultimately humanity. It took a lot of therapy, researching, 8 years of post-secondary education, 2 degrees, tons of continuing education credit, coaching hundreds of women in the Pleasure Collective for the last 4 years to be able to say that I love men. Today, my work goes by the following truths. Men are amazing. The world and my world is a better place with men in it. Cocks are incredible. Men want to protect and provide. They want to give us what we desire. Men are kind, loving, and have big hearts. My man, my stepson, show me this every single day. They aren't better. They are different and equal. And men were damaged by all the same messaging that we were. I was at a restaurant at a fancy mall waiting for my flight home from Arizona and got talking to a couple in trouble. They had all the classics: blaming, resenting, nagging, complaining, projecting, withdrawing love. And they both loved and cared about each other, but couldn't receive it from one another. Years of doing these same patterns, the blaming, the resenting, the nagging, the complaining, the projecting, the withdrawing of love, didn't get me where I wanted with my man. That's why I got divorced. And then when I noticed that the patterns were repeating in my new relationship that was so much better suited for me in so many ways, I knew that I had to take a deeper look at myself in how I kept recreating patterns that I saw my parents model. My mom would criticize and complain, like was modeled for her, like was probably modeled for you by your mother. And my dad would withdraw. They both had wounding and unhealed trauma. And I see this with women all the time. I see this in relationship all the time. Doesn't matter who's the pursuer, who's the withdrawer. It's the how it shows up with the accusing, the blaming, the criticizing, withdrawing of love. And instead of loving one another more, we pull further away into our indignation, into our victimhood, into our martyrdom, into our avoidance. And it fucking sucks there. Someone avoids, the other pursues until they have no fucks left to give anymore. They resign themselves into a life of teammates, not lovers, or they break up, try again, break up, try again with a new person or the same person, only to keep repeating the same patterns, only to keep attracting the same men or same dynamic. And that is why the divorce rate is so high, in my opinion, because we don't know how to relate to one another. We have forgotten as a society, as a collective, what it truly means to be in union, what it truly means to be an us. Our parents sure as hell didn't teach us. Maybe if you were really lucky, they did. We don't know how to fight. We don't know how to fuck. And we definitely do not know how to receive love from one another. Because if we are a superwoman, we are standing there saying, well, that is not good enough because you did not show me love in the way that my perfectionist brain saw it. So it doesn't count. You get a 3 out of 10. So that's a no. And also, men, if you are listening to this and you're like, yes, thank you. Her overfunctioning perfectionist brain also makes your life pretty fucking easy. So we have to look at the whole picture here. We have to heal the whole thing. So if you are new here, sacred feminine energy, so yin energy, is still, it's nurturing, it's intuitive, it's flowing, it's receiving. And sacred masculine energy is structure, action, protection, presence. It's logical, sometimes independent, a little more independent than I would like it to be. And when these two energies work together within us and within relationship, they create healthy, happy individuals, couples, family systems, societies. It's balance, and we need both. If we don't have both, we burn out. We have hormone imbalances. We are lonely, depressed, unfulfilled, anxious. This is feminine burnout. So men are hurt and angry, women are hurt and angry, and we are both taking a masculine approach to relationships. No wonder this is destined to fail. About 2.5 years ago, after knowing I needed to do work on my feminine in a deeper level than I had ever done before, that's when things started to change for me. I had a baby. It was COVID. My man was in a crazy legal battle with his ex, and my friends remind me that it's almost amazing, the transformation in our relationship, in our family, in our lives, in both of our businesses. And it was feminine energy that did that. It was love that did it. So I'm going to give you 2 examples. So after a fight or a disagreement, same pattern, you know it, me complaining and criticizing because I didn't know how to communicate a desire or a need from the feminine that would make any man happy to fulfill it. So me criticizing, him withdrawing, sometimes for days, It was awful. It would suck the life out of both of us. We saw counselors, coaches, spent the money, showed up, did the work, and we saw moderate improvements. And they both reiterated, all therapists, coaches reiterated the same thing. It's clear that you both love each other, but we were both missing each other, torturing each other. He would freeze and avoid. I would fawn and pursue until I felt rejected. Then I would get angry and also avoid. We were lying in bed one night and he had come up to bed, which was huge because he likes to avoid and sleep on the couch if he's mad. So he came up, which was big for him. And it was cold as ice in the room, backs to each other. And I had an impulse to reach out and touch him. And then the narrative in my head of he was wrong, he needs to do the repair, I need to hear him say he's sorry. So just so like almost gross and controlling to think that that was where my thoughts were. So something shifted in me. Maybe it was being a mom, maybe it was desperation, but I realized that it wasn't weak to love, to give. And it was really out of fear and lack and really poor conditioning that I was withholding the love that I instinctively wanted to give. So through the opening and the softening and reaching out and taking those baby steps, even if our perfectionist brain is saying it's not enough or our nervous system doesn't feel fully safe, I'm happy to report that most of our conflict is over in like 20 or 30 minutes, and we both feel seen and heard today. And I mean, I feel like I should not have even put that out there because we're going to get tested. We're going to get whomped by the universe because I said that. But anyways, bring it. My cup is full enough and I have enough love to give. Okay. Story number 2. Do you ever have those date nights or vacations that go sideways and turn into a fight? And it is so much worse because it is supposed to be happy, fun, sex times. It happened to us this past weekend, sort of, hear me, but we ended up so much closer because of what we've both learned about being in the feminine. So we had a disagreement, a fundamental disagreement on parenting philosophy. My clinical, analytical, anxious brain comes online, and this is a brain problem. We need to reconcile this. We need to get on the same page or we're going to break up. How are we going to raise kids together? Just, if you have an anxious mind, you understand how that chatter goes. Instead of going that route, well, I went there a little bit. I allowed myself. And then I got quiet and still, got in touch with my intuition, figured out what I needed. I shared it vulnerably and I cried. And I mean, really cried, like releasing some unworthiness shit from decades that was built up on a drive home. So he was in the car with me and he couldn't escape. My head was telling me to stop. Don't ruin an amazing weekend. Don't cry. Just tell him what you need. Control, fix, manage the situation. But that's the masculine brain. So I softened and opened, and he softened and opened. He was there for me and supported me in a way that I have let very few men ever be there for me in my vulnerability, in my openness, in my weakness. And he was kind and protected and provided, even though he was holding his differing position. After we felt closer, and the issue was pretty irrelevant because I felt seen, cared for, respected, and he was able to protect, and provide. So this is like proper masculine, feminine, yin, yang polarity. So we miss each other in relationship because we can't have too much yang, too much fire, too much accuse, blame, criticize, logic without balancing it with love, the stillness, the truth. And a lot of the ways that we misunderstand each other is because we have been conditioned into these patterns of being right, of blaming, of digging our heels in, and we haven't been taught to be an us. We've been taught to be individuals. We've been taught to protect our hearts. We haven't taught to soften, open, receive, love, communicate vulnerably. This is what I am teaching women, couples sitting at airport bars. I'm going to start teaching the men that have been reaching out in my DMs on how to bring this aspect of femininity to our relationship. So some final words of wisdom. If you are a superwoman, overachieving, get shit done, overfunctioning, in your head a lot, if you're lonely, unfulfilled, anxious, if you are not having the sex, intimacy, connection that you desire, if you do not feel truly seen, if you're in your masculine, in your career from day to day, you're never going to feel safe with a man, with patriarchal society, until we have learned to cultivate safety within ourselves, safety in the feminine. We're never going to feel sexually fulfilled or like our pleasure is equally as important as a man's pleasure until we have fully embraced our feminine sexuality. This information is not easily, readily available or accessible. We have women's bodies, not just the broken version of men's bodies. Our capacity for pleasure is so much greater. We're never going to love men or receive the love that we want from men until we learn to love our own femininity. And that goes for men too. They need to do some of this work too. This is something that I see superwomen. We focus on, we prioritize the things that we know we are good at, the things that we can control. We have some degree of competency because it feels good. And that's our MO. We love to do things well, but it stops us from doing the deeper work, the work that we are called to do, the work that we know it's going to make us a little uncomfortable. We've thought about it, but we've distracted and focused on work, focused on other areas of our lives that we know the ROI, we know what we're going to do. So we prioritize, we distract, we busy ourselves with things that are going to give us those quick hits of dopamine, but it does not change the fact that you know deep down, and maybe you've been resisting it for years. The last few ladies that I have started working with have all said, I've known I've needed to do this work for years, but it wasn't until I found you and your approach that you weren't rubbing period blood behind your ears that I felt safe enough to try. I know that things will not magically change in your life if you don't take the action. So let's not have 2023 be a repeat of 2022. If you listen to me and you know that my work speaks to you, you know I'm talking directly to you, and you are finally ready to do this work with me and my community of amazing superwomen, I have an announcement for you. Because of these last two ladies on the call, I am going to open 4 spots to the public for the feminine mentorship. This was previously invite only, and I had only invited ladies that had already worked with me one-on-one, or they'd worked with me before in some capacity. However, these previous 2, we'll call them goddesses, they were applying to work with me one-on-one, but once we started having the conversation, they were ready for the work. They were ready for the community and the support that the feminine mentorship provides. So I started thinking, there is probably more of you out there, more of you that know you're ready to learn the skills of your feminine power in addition to your superwoman. We don't want to put her away. She got us to where she got us to, but we want some skills to deepen our intimacy, to deepen our connection, our sex, the ease and flow that we go about life in. So if my work calls to you and you are ready to do it, you've been listening to me probably for some time now, and you feel called, and I know it. I know who you are because these last 2 ladies just appeared. So I figured that there's more of you that are absolutely perfect for the feminine mentorship. I need you to apply. The pleasurecollective.com/feminine mentorship. You can fill out the application and you and I will get on a call. If it's a fit, amazing. Even if it's not, I'd love to talk to you and figure out how else I can help. But I know you know this is for you because these last 2 ladies basically got on the call and said, I need to be in this room. And so do you. So 4 spots are open. Do not wait. Apply. They're going to go fast. And I cannot wait to have you, see you, meet you in person at the retreats, have you be in the room with us. It's going to be absolutely amazing. The pleasurecollective.com/feminine mentorship to apply. So this stuff doesn't seem to heal in therapy. It seems to heal the best in community, which is why I created this, because this was the community that I needed to do my work on my relationship with the feminine. We do not need to step back in our career, in our life. We still need you to be the badass superwoman, but we also need to learn how to be cared for, how to receive healthy love from a man. Because if you are a superwoman, you have been too busy, moving too much, doing too much to let love in. And you probably don't even know how to have the really good sex and orgasms. I want to leave you with a prompt from the feminine mentorship, something that we use. You can journal on this. Imagine yourself truly seen, truly cared for, well fucked. How would you show up as a partner, as a parent, at work, at lunch with friends? Thank you so much for listening. Wishing you health, wealth, and all of the orgasms. Have a great week, everybody.
If you like what you heard in this episode, leave me a rating. Your support helps me get discovered by more women like you. Together, we can change the conversation around women's sexual health and pleasure for you, your partners, and generations to come.